Hi guys, my name is Tim. I am the creator of Gray Feathers blog, and I've had this blog for a couple of years now, and I figured I would do a little video and kind of introduce myself. And so this is a little different, and what little few bloggers or followers I have now will probably leave. But anyway, first of all, a little about myself. I am married to a wonderful wife who takes very good care of me. I have a 24-year-old son who just recently graduated from the University of Alabama and has now moved out. Has his own apartment not far from here. I've got a set of twin daughters who are currently enrolled at the University of Alabama. One is in education and the other is in advertising, I believe. So if you see me looking off to the side there, I've got notes that I want to try to stay on track with. So I've got a few hobbies, which includes photography, cycling. I'm a beekeeper, which right now I don't have many bees because the last hive I had, they kind of flew off on me. But anything to do with outdoors, I like hiking and camping and stuff like that. And to keep this from sounding like a dating video, I'll move on. I've been looking around and asking about video blogging, vlogging I think they call it, and people keep telling me to stick with a subject and don't kind of meander off much with it, so I will try to do that. That's the reason I have some of the notes with me. So I like to say that I have CML, which is a form of leukemia. It's actually called chronic myeloid leukemia, and I was diagnosed with it February the 14th of 2014. I remember that day very well because it snowed that day, and here in Birmingham, in the Birmingham area, if it snows a quarter inch, it shuts Birmingham down. So that morning it had snowed and it shut down everything, and I had an appointment that morning with the oncologist, and it was later on that afternoon before I was able to see him. But the reason that I had the oncologist appointment is because my primary care doctor, which I see every 6 months, he had noticed a rise in my white blood cells. So with that said, he set an appointment up with the oncologist. And again, I remember that day very well because at first I thought my oncologist was very rude, and because he started talking to us and he brought in this huge folder, and he said, I interrupted him with a question, and he said, "No, I'm talking right now. When I get done, then you can ask all the questions you wanted." So he continued on, and he did say that more people die in a car wreck than they do with CML, which, okay, made me feel some better. But he then said that this particular cancer can be controlled with oral medication. I then stopped the doctor and told him, repeat what you just said, and he again repeated that this medicine can be controlled orally. I don't know why, but that statement just lifted the world off my shoulders, because as I walked into the office, I saw all these recliners with all these people sitting in it with IVs hooked up to them. So I thought to myself, yes, that's what I'm gonna end up doing. I've got some kind of bad cancer, and I'm going to be sitting in a recliner and having all these chemotherapy and radiation and all that kind of stuff. So, but with that said, when he told me that it can be controlled by oral medication, I felt a lot better. People ask me, what is CML? Well, I'm not an oncologist. And if I try to explain it, it gets all messed up and everything. But the best way I can say is some of the chromosomes that I have decided to make weird little babies. The white blood cells, I have overabundance of white blood cells. And so much so that they don't have a chance to mature. And then all I have is white blood cells and no red blood cells. And if the one thing I do know is if it goes untreated, then I will die. That's just basic science. So hence I'm on all these medications. Actually, I'm just on one for CML. And the problem is the ones that I have been on have caused a lot of problems. Eyesight, vision, fluid around the heart, and fluid around the lungs. And I've had at least 3 times I've been in the hospital where they've had to draw a lot of fluid off my lungs, up to 2.5 liters off of one side. They won't do both sides at one time, but they will do one side. When asked when I have CML, a lot of people think, all right, when they hear the word leukemia, it's like anybody else. When you hear the word leukemia, you think, oh no, you've only got a few years to live, and well, that may be the case if it goes untreated, and if you can't find any kind of medication that will help. But the first thought is, all right, oh my God, you got leukemia. And then when you tell them, oh, it's not the bad kind of leukemia, it can be controlled by oral medication, they say, oh, okay, well, you're fine then. Okay, that might be the case as well, but I'm not. I'm not really fine. It does, my energy levels go down. I have no energy. I just want to sit and in a recliner and watch TV all day. I have no energy. So, but yeah, it does have a major effect on me. Some of the medications that I've been on is called Gleevec. When I was on it, it worked for a little while, but it didn't do exactly what the doctor thought it should do. Gleevec really affected my eyesight more than anything else. But again, it never did get my numbers down to where it needs to be. Now, speaking of numbers, when I went in, my white blood cells or white blood count was 138%. It's not supposed to be that high. Now, I think the last blood work that I did was like 32%, I think it was. So the levels are still not up where they were. But anyway, the second one I was on is called Sprycel. It's Sprycll. And I was on it, and in about 2 months, it dropped to nearly non-existent. And I stayed on that drug for close to a year, and then I started having some breathing issues, and was sent to the cardiologist, and they thought I had diastolic heart failure. And it kind of had the same symptoms, shortness of breath, and they looked at my heart and saw that the diastolic portion of the heart wasn't beating like it should. And so anyway, I had some fluid drawn off, and I was some better, and then the fluid came back, and anyway, they finally took me off of Sprycel, and right now I'm great. My breathing is fine. I've been riding my bicycle. I went 8 miles last night. But I've recently been put on a drug called, it's right here, up. It is called Bucilaf. I don't know if you can see it or not, but oh, where'd you go? There you go. It's probably backwards. Busulf, Bucilaf. And I'm taking 500 milligrams. I've been on it since last Tuesday. Haven't had any kind of side effects that's listed. I won't go into that. It's kind of gruesome. But this is my third form of medication. I'm not sure how many more medications are out there for me to take. That's the reason my oncologist didn't want to take me off of Sprycel to begin with, is because I'm kind of limited as far as what I can take. This is my first video, maybe my last, I don't know. I'm just going to see how this goes, and just be kind with your comments. And again, like I said, it's my first, and God bless.